Starting off in that main camera too, or are we starting off in the webcam?
Main camera.
Main camera.
Alrighty, well, hello and welcome again to Weaver's Webcast. My name is Luke Hoopla Gerke, and
I'm Cabbage Ryan Carr.
and we are so excited to join you guys. This is our third day doing this, and I think we've gotten a little better with it over time.
I think we're moving in the right direction. We're starting to get used to the point where when we turn the camera on, we're sure that it's on this time. So.
Yeah, that's always a positive. So, what have we been doing today at camp?
Today at camp, we've been getting a lot of stuff ready for our store. So there's all sorts of new items and items that we've had before that we're restocking on, and had some counselors who were assisting me. I had both Hershey and Bigfoot who were helping me out with counting those and getting them ready and down to the store so that we've got them ready for this summer.
Very nice. Are there any exciting items that you noticed in the store that we should be getting ready for?
I think my personal favorite of the items that we opened up today would probably be the turtle pillow pets. They were pretty cool and pretty soft.
Are those the little ones, or are they the big ones?
It's about this big, so probably like a good 14, 15 inches per pillow.
There you go. Well, I've got a birthday present idea in mind already for Cabbage, so that sounds good to me. Well, today we decided to change our focus just a little bit and use this as an opportunity to discuss kind of the international staff that we have here at Camp Weaver. It's our belief that international staff and having international camp counselors really provides campers an opportunity to get to know the world beyond their backyard. So we're very proud to have staff. Over the years, we've had staff from Jordan, we've had staff from the United Kingdom, and even our own executive director grew up in Australia. So we really think it's neat, and it's a really an intentional and neat part of our camp program to have those international staff here so that they can share their culture and also that they can learn from American culture as well. So without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and transition. I've got my good friend D-Rock, or Daniel Rocha, sorry D-Rock, that's going to be joining us live from his apartment in Brazil. So we'll go ahead and start talking to D-Rock. So hey D-Rock, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm great. It's really good to see y'all guys.
It
I
is.
hope you can hear me well.
Yeah, we can hear you just fine. We can hear you just fine. So
That's great.
how's the weather in Brazil today?
Well, it's pretty good. We are in fall, so it's kind of different from there, you guys. So it's about 24 degrees Celsius. I don't know how to convert that to Fahrenheit, but it's
What is that,
pretty
Aussie?
nice weather.
It's like 72 degrees or so. Very nice. So you've got metric lessons today here. You saw it here first. So. Very cool. Well, D-Rock, could you just tell us a little bit about kind of who you are, where you came from, or where you come from, and just anything and everything about your time here at camp?
All right. First of all, let me just apologize for my hands, because you can see how shaky they are, but that's just me. I'm not nervous or anything. I'm just shaky, so don't worry about it. So yes, here I am, D-Rock, or Daniel. As you already mentioned, I live in Brazil. My city is Belo Horizonte, is in Minas Gerais. Whenever you get a chance, just go check the map to see where it is. And I've been to camp for 3 summers. My first summer was in 2016, and before that we had a practice. We had like a training here in Brazil with an agency called Globetrotter, and during, I could say, like 6 months, every Saturday afternoon and Sunday morning, we had practices like how to sing songs and perform and do some skits, and what we should do, what we shouldn't do at camp. So they really taught us how to become a counselor, and I'm pretty sure, and I can guarantee that we arrived at camp prepared to be a counselor. So it was a great experience, the training, and then when I got to camp, I felt that I was prepared to become a really good counselor, to become a role model. But the main difficulties for me was really like the language, of course, that everybody has like who comes from another country and speaks a different language. It's a shock for us to listen to that language for almost a day. So we just kind of like, oh my God, this is weird. It's different. And a little bit of the culture as well, but like I mentioned before, like another time in 3 weeks when I was at camp, I was understanding everything, not everything, but most part of it. I was becoming like a natural and getting used to the schedule and everything else. So it was pretty great. And then, as you know, I came back to camp for 18 months. It was one of the best experiences that I had in my life when I made really like big friends that I'm going to take for my entire life. And I had different roles for my first summer. I was more like a village coordinator by the time, and summer camp coordinator on my last summer. So it was really interesting, and camp taught me a lot. So I brought like a huge baggage of knowledge with me.
And you certainly left a big impact on camp. We definitely, I think, can all agree on that. So, yeah.
Cool. Dirk, tell us a little bit about your neighborhood, and can we see what your neighborhood looks like?
Yes, you can. So it didn't mention before, but I live in an apartment here. So it's a 5-floor apartment. So
is that a walk-up?
Yes.
Yeah.
So first, let me just show one little member of the family that's here with me.
Oh.
She's trying to sleep now. Her name is Cristal. She's 7 years old, and she's just amazing. I love her so much. So this
Thank you.
is where Bella and I work. So Bella is kind of busy right now, so I cannot show her. She's on a call right now, so this is where we work. It's not that big, as you can see, but it's kind of comfy. That's Bella. Hi, Bella.
Hi, Bella.
Hi, Bella.
So Bella is awesome. Bella also worked at camp. So here we're going to my kitchen. This is something that I brought with me from America, the KitchenAid, which is fantastic. I love it. So this is my neighborhood. So I can tell you guys that this could be like the, let's see, lower middle class where I live, the neighborhood. So you can see the type of the house. They're really like wall to wall. They're connected. I'm going to zoom a little bit so you guys can check a little bit how the houses are. It's really, really, really different from Greensboro especially. So this is just an example of how the neighborhood here is. Of course, we have like other neighborhoods that have like way, way bigger and like I would say nicer houses. But you know, people get used to what they have and they're happy with that. And I'm happy being part of this neighborhood because people are really nice here. So it's pretty cool.
Very cool. I noticed it's kind of hard to tell, what's the front door. I'm noticing that there's a lot of different like kind of walls and gates and things. So how does that work? I guess the one right in front of you might be a good description.
Yeah, so this would be a good one. So it's kind of cool to explain this housing family because it's all belongs to one family, but it's kind of like 3 to 4 houses. So I'm going to zoom as well so you can see. It's kind of shaky, but that's me. I'm going to put it here. So, there you go. So this one front door, they have, because we are surrounded by doors and walls, as you can see. So this one, the bigger one in the middle is the garage, is the entrance to the garage. As you can see, one car there, and that goes straight to their house, as you can see it. And you can also see the walls, how they connect from one house to another. So as soon as one wall finishes, we start another house. So you can see they have the green and the yellow house, so they are separate only by one wall. So I don't know if someone just breaks a wall, they're going to go see. in the room and there's, hey, what's up? Let me see and this is the entrance of my building. So as you can see below the first floor, we have the garage. You can see one car parked over there. And the entrance is that one that I'm showing you guys right now. It's also protected by a roof. I think it's aluminum, so it can protect us from the rain on the entrance. And yes, you can see some of the cars parked on the street. We don't have any a line or any marks on the street, so where you can park or not. Especially because it's just a regular neighborhood. So whenever we go to downtown or some other neighborhoods that have more businesses, then you have to pay to park. So yeah, here's a neighbor, and that's a dog. So that dog, she lives in that house, but they leave her outside all day long. Oh. That's the way she is. It's sad, but it happens.
Not as spoiled as your dog that gets to sleep on the couch, I guess.
It's a little different.
My dog is a really comfortable life.
Very cool.
So the next question I've got for you, D-Rock, is what does a typical meal or a day of meals look like in Brazil, and where do you get your food? What are the markets like?
All right, so we're talking about the best part here. Food. So food, I would say it's pretty different from what we eat there in America, from breakfast to dinner. And I could say that, I'll give an example for breakfast. Let's say we're on a typical day at camp, we might have pancakes and bacon and syrup, orange juice, some fruits, which is good, great, pineapple. But here, our regular breakfast, we have milk, which we also have there, milk, coffee, bread, and butter. These four are the basics. But sometimes we can also include cheese, ham. We have one creamy cheese. It's not like cream cheese. Let me see if I can show you here now, because this is live, and we have the resources to do that. So let's just do one curiosity thing here. So this is the creamy cheese, which is delicious.
Oh, that's cool. It's like a spreadable cheese.
Yeah, spreadable cheese. We should say that. Which is delicious. And then natural juice, whatever you have, orange, could be lime, strawberries, watermelon, passion fruit. So that's pretty much it. And cheese bread. Cheese bread, you guys know about it.
Cheese bread is one of my personal favorites.
If I have an opportunity, I can try to teach campers to do, but they're going to need their parents' help in some part of it, but we can talk about that later. So that's pretty much breakfast. For lunch, it's really different from camp, because we have there green cheese, tater tots, what else? Sandwich. But here we have a more, I would say, heavier meal, because we have rice, beans, meat, salad. We can also include mashed potatoes or fries. Sometimes we can have pasta, but also juice. Juice is everywhere. Every meal we have juice included. So I believe that this will be different from camp, because at dinner we have this meals that you guys used to have for lunch. That makes sense. So sometimes for dinner we have pizza, we have burgers, or we have the same thing that we had for lunch. So maybe I cook too much. At dinner I just go there, heat it up, and then have the rest of it. Also could be finger food, or only meat and salad, and omelets. So it can be a lighter meal for dinner.
Very cool.
So yeah, I think that's it.
Awesome. And then as I noticed as we were walking through, it looked like your washing machine was in your kitchen.
Yes. So this apartment is not a big one, so it's a small apartment, and we have to work with whatever resources and creativity we have. So what we did, so we have the kitchen here, and then we have like this red glass thing that separates the kitchen from the cleaning area. So you have like a sink here with some trash, and this is my washing machine. So this is a pretty cool one because it's a wash and dry, and as you can see I am barefoot right now on the reflex of the machine. So here it is. It's a really nice one. And for an apartment like this, it's pretty good because since we don't have much space to dry our clothes, we have to use the dryer. But we have one small, I think it's foldable like clothesline. I don't know how I should say this in English, but it helps a little bit. And we have also one that we can put on the ground, put on the floor in our bedroom. So, you have to adapt to some things, but it's pretty awesome.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Life goes home. There's one thing that I would like to tell you guys.
Sure. Go ahead.
We don't have dishwashers here.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Rare. It's really rare. Like people have dishwashers in Brazil. So as you can see here, we have to use our hands and wash them. But it's okay. It's good to relieve some stress. So it's nice.
Well, cool. So we were kind of looking at your different appliances. What do electrical outlets and light switches and ceiling fans and that kind of stuff look like around your apartment?
Yeah, can you just plug in that KitchenAid mixer that you brought back?
Yes. Let me walk here again and show you guys. So let's turn the camera. Okay, so this is one plug. So as you can see, it's different from what we have there. So this is one from the KitchenAid, and as you can see, it does not fit. It's kind of sad, but we are smart and we have some adapters, which is really, really, really important for us. So we just plug in, and there you go. We can make some really good cakes now. So it's different, but we just try to adapt. Just like my phone is, I bought it there, and I just bought a different adapter that I could plug in straight on the charger, so it just made my life easier. But if we cannot do that, we use these adapters here that we can plug in and plug out whenever we want. Yep, and light switches, just the regular one. This is a double one for the kitchen and for the cleaning area, the washing. I don't know how I could say that.
I noticed that the switches are horizontal. D-Rock, are all switches in Brazil horizontal like that?
Not really. The one from my living room here is just, as you can see, is vertical. Huh. So it really depends. I don't know. We don't have like a main, like a basic way to do it, a main way to have it positioned. So yeah, it's the one you think it's more beautiful. I don't know.
All right, and then let's talk a little bit about everybody's favorite room, the bathroom. Getting to know you over the years, there's some interesting kind of Brazil bathroom habits. I guess my first question is I've always heard that toilets flush the opposite direction in the southern hemisphere. Can we do a test and see if that's true?
Yes, we can and we will. I saw that in one of the sleep episodes. The part was in Australia, and then we called someone to Australia and asked if it was backwards or not. But here is mine. Hello, say hello, hello. And we're gonna test it right now. So, how is it there in America?
It spins
clockwise, counterclockwise.
Counterclockwise, so backwards.
Counterclockwise. Okay.
So let's
so
see.
Are you guys ready for it?
We're ready.
Here we go. First, it's just gonna be a lot of water, but then by the end, you're gonna. Let's do it.
Oh, it's the exact same way.
Yeah, look at that.
Myth busted. Myth busted.
Hey, D-Rock.
what are the buttons on the top of the toilet too? It looks like there's 2 different buttons that you can press.
Oh yes. So this little one is, I'd say, number 1. And whenever it's number 2, we're going to use both, so it has more water in it, and it's easier to go away.
Okay. Very cool.
And just another fun fact. As you can see here, we have a small trash can. So what we do with our toilet paper, we don't throw it right straight on a toilet. We just go and throw it on a trash can.
Thanks for not opening that trash can.
Just put my foot there just to trick you guys. I wouldn't do it.
And then the other thing in there was your shower. One of the things I think that is interesting, can you talk a little bit about just kind of Brazilian shower habits and how many times a day you guys take a shower?
Yeah, sure. So we at least, Bella and I, we take at least 2 times a day. We take a shower 2 times a day. So first one is right after we wake up. So we wake up and then go straight to shower. And then it could be by the end of our activities during the day. So I don't know, maybe at 6 o'clock, or maybe even later when it's like an hour or 2 for us to go to bed. We go and take another shower. And depending, we usually also take 3 times. It depends also on the temperature outside and what activities we're doing on that day. Let's see. We also have people that take once a day, but at least once a day. And usually, sometimes I used to do that. Sometimes maybe when I wake up late to go to work, and then just change and go, and then after work I come home and then take a shower. But yeah, but usually it's twice a day.
Very cool. Very cool. Those are the main questions that we had for the interview. Did you have anything that you kind of wanted to share with our campers and our families, or any shout outs you'd like to make?
Yes, I would actually. For now, I'd like to tell you guys to stay strong. These are really hard times for us, and we are all adapting. I am, unfortunately, on the statistics of the unemployed due to the crisis that's on the world. Thankfully, Bella is still working. She's working home office. But I'm here. I'm happy. I'm trying to create a schedule for me so I can stay busy. I'm trying to learn new things every day. So we all need to adapt, and I hope that the parents and the campers, they are all adapting. I believe that homeschool is not easy, but keep doing that. We need this, and for the parents, stay strong. Try to create activities for your kids. And this is a good moment for you to spend more time with them, and learn from them as well, because this is a mutual learning. Parents learn from the kids learn from their parents. So yeah, I hope for the best for everybody.
We do too.
Awesome.
We do too.
Thanks, Sarah.
It was so good to see you again, my friend, and thank you for sharing your house and your culture with us. And we look forward to seeing you again next week when we learn to make your dessert. So.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for that. So whenever you guys need anything, if you guys have any questions, you can post them on the Facebook page there, and I'll be more than happy to answer some questions or whatever.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, thank you, D-Rock.
Everyone, Bella wants to say bye.
Bye, Bella.
Bye, Bella.
Bye, guys. Thanks for everything.
Bye, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good.
All right, guys. Well, that was great to get an opportunity to talk with one of our favorite staff. To talk with one of our favorite staff. We are live. But I think next up, what do we have going on next?
I believe that we've got the first Weaver weather report today from our amazing Tommy Green Ranger Losh.
Oh, I think it's actually a traffic report.
It's a traffic report, excuse me.
So, all right, let's see. Tommy, are you there? Are you ready to cast for us? Tommy, are you there? Oh, I think there he is.
Thanks, Supla. I just want to mention, while I'm up here, just how gorgeous it looks up from up here. It's just like the first time that I listened to the Beatles. Alright, we are now going down the county line. We have 11 gorgeous cabins, all named after different counties in North Carolina. Going over our fireplaces, place for Rudy to play carpet ball. Now we're going over to our BB range and paintball area, some of our target sports. And if you look closely, you might even see Uncle Ray on the mower. Who doesn't appreciate some good Uncle Ray cooking? Right now we're going over the lake. See how gorgeous it is. You see a log cabin in our garden area. If you look closely, you might see Big Token and Ace chowing down on some grass. And now we're going to hand over to Ben's at Main Camp. Check out these beautiful trees. They're just so green. It's just gorgeous. We're going over Camp Road. If you look over, you might see the skate park. That's where we like to shred some gnar, as well as arts and crafts, where we like to get crafty. Now, one of my favorite locations is the pavilion. Take another good look over at the horse barn. And I think I hear some commotion going on in the pavilion. Let's check it out. Let me just decline here. I wonder what everyone's up to. Oh. If you look close, it looks like they're playing Foursquare. And if you met me before, you know how much I love playing Foursquare. Well, that's all in the traffic report, and I think I might join them. So I think I'm going to land this bad boy on the roof. I'm going to
Hey, Tommy, can you hear me?
Hey, Tommy.
Tommy, don't do that. Tommy.
Thanks, Supla.
Oh, no.
He landed on the roof. Okay, wow.
He knows the helipad is by the lake, right?
It is. It's by the lake.
Ooh. All right, well, while we deal with that situation, we have another international that's joining us here today, and I will let him introduce himself.
G'day everyone, my name's Jamie, known as Aussie here at Camp Weaver.
Awesome. So, Jamie, obviously you've got a little bit of an accent. Can you tell us a little bit about where you picked that accent up?
Absolutely, yeah. So I was born and spent a good portion of my life in Australia, in the city of Melbourne, a big city of about 5 million people.
5 million, that's a big city. I've noticed, I've looked at a map once or twice of Australia to daydream about some trips I want to take in the future. It seems like all the cities in Australia are along the coastline. Why is that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So most Australians live in big port towns, so around the water, which is the reason why a lot of Australians love to go to the beach and swim and stuff like that. But if you look at Australia, it's a very large country. It's about the size of the continental United States. And the more inland you go, the more harsh the climate is. And so it's a lot more temperate and easier to live in the coastal areas of the country.
Oh, that's really cool. We introduced another Australian just a couple of days ago, and we had Reptar up here, who is a bearded dragon from Australia originally. When I think of Australia, the first thing that pops into my mind is always Finding Nemo. And when I think of Finding Nemo, I think of the Sydney Opera House, which is, a big symbol, obviously, for Australia. How far away is Melbourne from Sydney?
So if you're driving, Melbourne's about a good day's drive. So I'd say about 12 hours to get from Melbourne to Sydney. So that'll sort of give you an idea of how large the country is. A lot of driving.
Yeah, that's a good ways. I would say a 12-hour drive is going to put me out for sure. So Sydney obviously has the Opera House. What is Melbourne famous for?
Well, Melbourne and Sydney have both been the capital of Australia at various times. Most people think Sydney's the capital, but it's actually Canberra. But Melbourne is a very big sporting city. It's probably one of the largest sporting cities in the world. So there's a lot of soccer and cricket. Australian rules football was born there, and tennis. And if you go back in history, Melbourne was also known as a gold rush town. So it was the richest city in the world at one point because a lot of the gold was coming in from the goldfields around Melbourne, the state of Victoria. So, we actually visited that gold mining area when we were over there at Christmas time this year. It's a reenactment. That gold mining town was around the 1850s, and a lot of people came from all over the world, and actually that's part of why there was such a large population growth at the time. So
that's really cool. I noticed you said that this was at Christmas time, but I noticed
Christmas
that y'all
time.
are all wearing shorts, and it looks quite sunny and comfortable there.
Isn't that funny? So just like D-Rock is from Brazil, Australia is also in the southern hemisphere, which means that at Christmas time it's the summertime, which is kind of funky. So if you can sort of think about watching Santa Claus, or Father Christmas as they call him over there, it's just sort of weird when it's a white Christmas when it's 100 degrees outside, or 35, 37 degrees Celsius. So we swim in the pool on Christmas Day. We eat somewhat traditional English food, but also cold foods for Christmas, and spend a lot of time outside playing cricket and different things like that.
That's really cool. One thing that I know from having known you for a little while that I always find really amusing is there's no reindeer in Australia, right?
There's no reindeer. That's exactly right. Yes.
So what pulls Father Christmas's sleigh?
Well, that would be the kangaroos.
Kangaroos?
They're magical animals. They can pull a sleigh, and in fact, when Santa shows up in Australia, he switches to kangaroos.
That's awesome. It's really cool. So we're going to go through a couple of photos of some animals, and we're just going to let you identify them for us because some of us may not know what they are.
Absolutely. So the animal on the left is a koala. Some people think it's a bear. It's actually not a bear. It's a marsupial, which is the vast majority of animals in Australia are marsupials, which are defined by having a pouch. So, but a koala lives in off eucalypt trees, and a fun fact about them is their mother teaches them what leaves to eat, and that's all they would eat in their life. So, but that's one of the animals that Australia is famous for.
That's really cool. What have we got now?
And this is I believe this is a little wallaby, and they are very friendly. There's lots and lots of species of kangaroos and wallabies that live all over Australia, anywhere from just a few inches tall to over 6 feet tall, which is a red kangaroo. So there's lots and lots of species. Generally pretty friendly unless they're in the wild. Then they'll just try to really stay away from you. So they're unique animals.
That's really cool.
And then we also have what's called this is a very special animal. This was in the wild, and we were at a park, and this is called an echidna. They have spines on them for their defense. Their other defense is they'll dig down in the dirt, which is you see what this echidna is doing right there. But they are what's called a monotreme, just like the platypus, and they're an egg-laying mammal. Very, very unique, and I believe Australia is the only place that has monotremes.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know that there was another egg-laying mammal.
So the next animal is what's called a Tasmanian devil, a little different from what you see on the cartoon. And they are becoming rarer and rarer because of some disease they have, and only found in the wild now in the state of Tasmania, which is the island off the coast of the south coast of Australia. But they're a scavenger, and they have very strong jaw strength, so they can crush bones and things that they find to eat.
Cool. What have we got here?
And this is a species of wombat, which is a large burrowing marsupial. And again, there's many species of wombats throughout Australia. But they're a cute little guy. One thing that he's doing right now is Australia has a very warm climate. So if you think about weather over 100 degrees in Central Australia, and even in any parts it can get above that. So a lot of animals are nocturnal, so they sleep during the day, and they come out at night when the weather is much cooler. So this wombat in the wild will be sleeping in his burrow during the day.
Oh, that's really cool.
And I believe this one is a little pademelon, which is another species of in the kangaroo wallaby family, and that's a full-grown pademelon right there. And the pouches are right on their front, so if they have a baby, the baby would be in that pouch.
Awesome. Oh, that's a different-looking bird.
Yes, this is an emu, and you do see some here in farms in the United States, but an emu is, I believe, the second largest bird, or flightless bird, and they make a strange sound with their throat. And one unique thing about an emu is to help with their digestion, they actually eat little stones, which I thought is pretty interesting. But you see them a lot in the wild in Australia.
That's pretty cool. That they eat rocks to help grind up their food.
That's right. And this is the one animal. Some people say it's native. The Aborigines who populated Australia, some think as long as 50,000 years ago, they believe that the dingo was brought by the Aborigines and is the only animal that's not a marsupial. But this is a dingo that's basically a wild dog that lives in Australia in a lot of outback areas, and famous populations live off an island off Australia called Fraser Island.
So it's the only mammal on the continent without being a marsupial. That's really cool.
Aussie, we got a really interesting question from the audience. I think this is from Breland's mom. She said, "Are drop bears real?"
No, drop bears are not real. So I think they're referring to a koala that just drops out of a tree. So that is not real. I did hear about those though.
Well, I think that there's another animal.
That's another koala.
Koala.
And then, Australia is very famous for their birds, especially parrots, very large parrots. You'll see a galah. I had one of these as a pet when I was a child, and he would talk and dance. They're very, very intelligent birds. And then this is my sister's cockatoo, which was injured and couldn't be released into the wild. So this actually lives in and out of her house. And he talks and walks around, and you can pet him. So they're very, very smart, very, very smart birds. And then we have a train in Australia called the Puffing Billy, which was an old logging train, I believe. And you can actually ride it, and you can sit with your legs hanging out the sides of it. It's an old steam train, which is near Belgrave. And this is Isabella hanging out the side of the train as it goes across a big railroad bridge. And this is again at the gold mining town Sovereign Hill, the old carriage in Clydesdales. There's a little gold panning there that we did at Sovereign Hill, which is the gold rush or gold mining town. And then most people would be very aware of the fires, the really devastating, terrible fires that killed so many animals. And on the way into where I grew up, a place called Cannons Creek, about 45 minutes outside of Melbourne, all these towns have signs that say total fire ban, and if it's a total fire ban, but it shows you the scale, and you have to be very, very careful, just like hurricanes in the south and east coast, fires in California and tornadoes in parts of the country. Australia has very bad fires, and fires travel very quickly, so you have to be very careful. So people have to live and learn how to live with that situation. And then one area that, and I actually took this photo, we went to Uluru, which is a sacred area to the Aborigines, and it's what's called a monolith, which is a large independent stone, and it changes color throughout the night or throughout the sunlight during the day. And what really interesting thing is it's amazing what can happen is on top of Uluru, when they have rain, there's actually shrimp that live in the puddles up there, which I thought is pretty amazing. But very harsh climate, a lot of reptiles and things live around there, but it's just an incredible sight to see.
Well, thank you so much, Jamie, for sharing a little bit about your culture. It was awesome having you on the show, and we look forward to getting to learn a little bit more about Australia, I'm sure, in the coming weeks. And do you have anything that you'd like to say to our friends and family before you part?
It's a pleasure to be there, and we're thinking about everyone out there and wishing you well, and just can't wait to have you back at camp where we can play and chat to each other and just enjoy being outside.
Well, we just want to say thank you to everyone that's tuning in and watching our videos, even if you're watching it on a replay. But if there's anything that we can do for you or any content that you want to see, reach out to us and let us know, and we will do our very best to make it happen. Have a good day, everybody.
Bye-bye.